There you go. Well done.
We are live. How
Yeah.
exciting.
That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, there's something wrong. Anybody who's watching the live show on here is, we're very confused. Nothing went wrong. My iPad was on the wrong network, and I couldn't see Steve's, use it as a control panel because I couldn't see Steve's Mac. But that was quickly sorted. Very strange to have nothing go wrong.
Yep.
How you doing tonight, Steve?
I'm hanging in there. How are you doing, Podfeet? Looks like we're looking at you from a slightly different angle.
We are. Is this the first time?
No, I think last week it was this angle as well.
Okay. Anybody, can we get independent verification?
I don't know. It may be too subtle for most people.
Oh, Kevin's talking about ironing sheets. He says they used a mangler. There's a, yes, thank you, Alan, for roll call, but I want to finish the mangler story. There's a tool that George from Tulsa did a tutorial on quite a while ago, many years ago. It's called Name Mangler. It's a way of renaming files on the Mac, and it's a mangler. It's two rolls, and it's a hand crank mangler. So there. Okay, Mike says we did mention the new ARM last night.
So how does that work in changing file names?
I don't know. It just smashes them through, and when it comes out the other side, they get new names. All right, it is time for roll call. Alan called it. We have Alan and Kevin and Jason and Frank and Jill and John and Mike and Rick and Sandy and Steve and Michael Westbay. And I saw Rose in the sidebar. I don't see any wheels.
No wheels yet. Maybe he'll roll on in a little bit later.
All right. Well, that's good. I think we're ready to go, and so maybe we should start.
Okay.
All right. Muting Steve. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, January 9th, 2022, and this is show number 870. Well, I'm really proud of myself that I've gotten the show year correct twice in a row, and you know why? Because I have a text expander snippet that writes it for me. Just doing that. I just vamped a little there so I could do a, save. NC audio. NC, yep. Oh, wait. Oh, this is wrong. Wait. I have to make a 2022 folder.
Wait, wouldn't you already have done that from last week?
There it is.
This is the 9th.
Right. Let's see. Yeah. I was about to put it in the wrong folder. Okay, there we go. All right. So actually, should I play with the Stream Deck while we're doing this? Yes.
Oh no.
So everybody talks about Stream Deck. Jill McKinley got one, and David Roth got one, so I asked Pat if I could borrow hers. If you haven't seen a Stream Deck, it's a bunch of little buttons, and you can program them. And this one right here, I don't know if you can see it, it's a toggle.
Yeah, we can see it.
And it says live on off. And actually, it says live/over. That's two completely separate Keyboard Maestro macros, both programmed into one button as a toggle, one button to turn on everything that I do. It sets my HomeKit scenes, it launches all my apps, it rearranges all my windows, unless something stupid happens like I did tonight. And then the other button turns a bunch of stuff off, not everything, and launches, brings back my, turns on my backups and all kinds of stuff.
So I guess it's important not to hit that other button while you're doing the show.
Yeah, well, there's, it probably would be bad because it does kill Mimo Live. It doesn't kill Hindenburg, but it kills, you got to be gentle with Hindenburg.
Yeah.
But I am going to bring up Stream Deck. So you can take Keyboard Maestro macros and you can put them into Stream Deck. So let's see, how do we do that? Did I just make it go the whole window? Can you see Stream Deck really big?
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, I did it too. Okay, so I'm going to put a hotkey up here. And let's see, let's put it down. Well, let's not put it close to that. We'll put a hotkey there. And we're going to call this, actually, we could call it Grumpy.
He gets his own key.
Right, and then we're going to go here, we're going to choose an icon, and here's the icon library. See something Grumpy would like to be. Ooh, how about With that big bright green icon. That looks good. All right.
They don't have one of the 7 dwarfs there?
Dwarves. No, you can go find an image, so maybe I'll do that later. But then my keystroke is all of these keys.
Oh,
that's the Hindenburg.
that's the mash
key.
down the keystroke.
Right. So now I close this, and now you'll see that now there's a bright green button. See it?
Let me go full
To
screen.
glare. It's
Well, we can see the outline.
that's it.
The
right
outline's
there.
kind of green, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's a little hard to see here. So, if this works properly, let's see. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to go here. If this works, go back where our chapter mark should go. I'm going to press the button. Oh my gosh, it worked. Copy link.
Wait, you're not
Copy.
doing those strokes right now. It's
I'm not
doing them
doing those
automatic.
strokes.
Oh, fantastic.
It just did
Nice.
it with a button. Well, it's not that hard for me to do the keystroke because I have it memorized, but I wouldn't have to memorize it anymore.
Right.
And I could do more of them. Eric, is that Eric in Ontario, Canada? Is that who came in? Yep. There we go. Yeah,
Well,
maybe I do
welcome,
need
Eric.
one of these.
Welcome back.
That worked pretty well.
Eric
And
must
you
be
saw
in the
how easy it was to
sidebar.
do. What's that?
Eric
he
must be in the
he'd be
sidebar.
Eric, I-N, wait.
Eric
ONCA.
ONCA.
Yeah. Eric in
Ontario, Canada.
And guess what? He lives really close to Stephen Getz.
Cool. Hey, Bodie made it in too. Welcome, Bodie.
Bodie. All
Good to have you here, Bodie.
You know what? If you guys aren't listening to Bodie's podcast, you really should. I got to tell you, if nothing else, the theme music makes me happy. I hear it, Steve start playing it in another room, and I just get this grin on my face because I know it's Bodie coming up, and it's a really fun song. So
There are other reasons besides the theme music, but yeah, the theme
well,
music
not much,
lets you
really.
know.
Really, the show's kind
That's it.
of it's really not that good.
So,
But,
and
you
the
know,
host. Ugh.
he's a nice guy, but you know, it's a show. All right. Let's see. Where was I? I want to go here. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I'm going to start recording. I can still hear you. Why can I still hear you? Oh, I have them reversed. Yep, I had the wrong one done. Okay, there we go. I've talked about Parallels Toolbox many times on the NosillaCast, but it was high time to do a new full video tutorial for it on Screencasts Online. If you haven't heard of Parallels Toolbox before, it's a suite of small utility apps that are all available from a single menu bar app. Most of the tools aren't unique in the Mac world. They're not anything to, blow your socks off that they do something nobody else can do, but the magic is having them all bundled together into a single consistent interface. I like to think of Parallels Toolbox as buying one of those awesome Craftsman tool chests, ones that come filled with entire sets of high-quality wrenches, hammers, screwdrivers, and more, instead of just a hodgepodge of tools from all different hardware stores. The reason I said it was time to do a new tutorial for Screencasts Online is they keep adding more and more tools, and they've dramatically improved the user interface to make those tools more discoverable. I really, really enjoyed making this tutorial because it forced me to go through all 40 of the tools and understand every single one. Now, not every one of them made the cut for the video. I didn't have that much time, but I use so many of these tools day to day that it was a real joy to get to teach about Parallels Toolbox. I even learned that Parallels Toolbox is available for Windows too. It's not the exact same suite of tools, but there's complementary tools. Now, I gotta warn you, Screencast Online is a subscription service, but if you're not already a subscriber, you can get a free 7-day trial and watch this tutorial on Parallels Toolbox and as much of the back catalog as you can consume in those 7 days. I'll give my usual disclaimer, though. It is dangerous to do the free trial of Screencast Online because you very well might get hooked on this service. Ed rolled in.
Yes. Hey, Ed. Welcome.
How you doing?
It's always good to have a talking horse show up.
It really is, Horse is a horse, of course. And nobody can talk to a horse, of course. How's it go? Oh, I started to use the keystroke, and I could just push the button. That's kind of fun. Whoop.
Is it
took too long.
Is it worth it having another piece of equipment on your desk to do that?
It's a question. It's big.
Yeah, I noticed.
And I won't. Yeah. I mean, it might be something that's really useful during the live show, but not the rest of the time.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm hitting it twice. That's what's wrong. Let's see if it still do it. Did I get it?
There you go.
Here you go.
Good.
Okay. Complementary tool. Yeah, that would be nice. Oh, you have a tiny one for recording and the big one for editing. Wow.
Oh.
Huh. That's interesting. I'll have to talk to you about why you have two of them. I would think the big one for everything would be easier. Oh, so you can get rid of it. That's interesting. We got to talk through your process. We need a screen share. All right, muting Steve here. This week, I had the great pleasure of being on the Daily Tech News Show on Friday, where we finished off the week of CES coverage. Robert Heron of AVXL was on the show to talk about TV tech, and I gave a rundown of the 5 off-the-beaten-path products I'd like to know more about. Check out Friday's episode of Daily Tech News Show entitled Robert Heron Picks the Nits. But you know what? You're already subscribed to DTNS in your podcatcher of choice, right? Okay, and another one. Copy link. God, that is kind of fun just pushing a button.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Put in here. I also had a blast being on Clockwise this last week with Micah Sargent and Dan Morin. I got to meet senior editor at 9to5Mac, Zach Hall, as he was the guest along with me. We talked about making our digital photos into physical media, our experience with external monitors, Apple's rumored audiobook service, and what features we might find appealing for an AR/VR headset. I hope you'll go check out Clockwise in your podcatcher of choice and look for episode number 432. And it's called By Read, I Mean Listen. All right. I'm not going to have a link here or a chapter mark to chit chat because there is no chit chat.
Okay.
So I'm just going to keep rolling.
Do you want to give us a hint about what that title meant?
I'm going to write. Well, I'm going to talk.
No.
Won't be a link.
No, I'm not talking about chit chat. I'm talking about the previous post, the Clockwise. By read, I mean, or by listen, I mean read.
Oh, we were. What you mean? What the show was about?
The title, yeah, what the title meant. The title of the show.
Audiobooks.
Oh, okay. That was it. All right.
Oh, sorry, squirrel. Got to look at Jill's setup.
Oh, it is
Those
a little.
icons are prettier than what I've got.
Is that it then? The is it like a 2x3? Looks like a 2x3 set of buttons.
Yeah. Is it
That's
that
cute.
teeny, Jill? Those
Can't
are
tell it's
prettier
cut-offs,
icons.
but it looks like that's it.
Okay.
That's the bottom of it.
I have I've only did one icon. I did feeder, but I still put a label on it so I could remember what it did because it doesn't just do feeder. Yeah, we got to walk through this. We got to have some fun. Maybe you should come on Chit Chat. We should talk about it. There's a lot of ideas here. All right, got to keep going here. Tomorrow is Bart's birthday. Happy birthday, Bart! And he decided that there's nothing he'd rather do on his birthday than record an episode of Programming by Stealth. Because of that next... Wait, no. I'm missing... Start that over. Tomorrow is Bart's birthday. Happy birthday, Bart! And he decided there's nothing he'd rather do on his birthday than record an episode of Programming by Stealth. So we did not record on Saturday like we normally do. We're going to be recording on Monday. So the next episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond will be coming out tomorrow, as it hasn't yet been recorded. I'll update the NosillaCast blog post segment with the link when it's up. And of course, I'll tweet about it and add it to our Slack so you'll be sure to see it. Heck, you're probably already subscribed to your podcatcher of choice anyway, so you'll get it just as soon as I post it. Okay.
Aren't you?
Minutes of announcements. Save. Press my button. What'd you say, Steve?
Oh, I was just following up on your other post, DTNS, right? You're already subscribed.
Yeah, really. All right, let's talk about Thunderbolt hubbing. Get that diagram up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really pleased with that diagram. Okay, muting Steve. One of the great joys of the USB-C life has been the proliferation of USB-C docks that are cross-platform for Mac and PC. Over the years, I've tested a lot of these docks, settling on the CalDigit TS3 Plus Thunderbolt dock as my favorite. I did a full review of the CalDigit TS3 Plus 3 years ago, and I still love it to pieces. This sweet little paperback book-sized dock has 5 USB-A ports, 2 USB-C ports, 2 Thunderbolt ports, DisplayPort, digital optical, gigabit Ethernet, and audio in and out. With 2 Thunderbolt ports on the CalDigit dock, you can plug in a Thunderbolt display like the 5K like the 5K, like what 5K? LG 5K. Let me explain that. With 2 Thunderbolt ports on the CalDigit dock, you can plug in a Thunderbolt display like the LG 5K or the Pro Display XDR, and also plug in a Mac and get both power to the Mac and video out to the display. And you can also have other USB-C devices, or USB devices, I should say, and some speakers, and you've got everything with just a single Thunderbolt cable going to the Mac. Now, at this point in my story, I've given you a scenario of a relatively normal nerd might set up for themselves. I'm going to diverge into more complexity that has very little chance of relevance to anyone listening or reading. How's that for a hook to persuade you to not jump to the next chapter? Well, anyway, this setup worked pretty swell for me until I decided to upgrade from a USB mic interface to the Universal Audio Apollo Solo Thunderbolt 3 mic interface. Now, a mic interface allows you to use a big girl mic with an XLR connector on it and yet plug it directly into your Mac or PC via USB or Thunderbolt. Now, I switched to a Thunderbolt interface to solve a big problem I was having. The big problem I was having is that USB was not able to keep up with the load when I was recording video tutorials for Screencasts Online. I get these little clicks and pops from time to time, and it was super tedious to have to go back and re-record my voice over the videos. So giving up USB and going to Thunderbolt has had a beautiful side effect. The only way to be truly sure you've got clean audio is to monitor your own voice while you're recording. Now, this drives some people bananas because USB introduces a slight delay. With the Thunderbolt interface, you can get very close to zero latency so you can monitor your own voice without losing your mind. Now, it turns out there's a lot of USB interfaces, a limited choice of Thunderbolt 2 interfaces, and exactly one Thunderbolt 3 interface that fits my requirements. There's also a lot of huge ones with 8 mic inputs and such, but I really only need 1 mic input since it's just little old me here, and I didn't want to have to sell a kidney for it either. The one option is the $600 Universal Audio Apollo Solo with 2 XLR mic inputs that I talked about. I wrote a lot about this when I got it back in late August. There's a few issues with the Apollo Solo, and one of them is that it absolutely, positively has to be plugged directly into the Thunderbolt port on the Mac. I know you're crying with me that I have to live with the agony of plugging and unplugging 2 entire cables. But you know what? When you've lived the one cable life, having 2 is a very sad thing. With the advent of macOS Big Sur, Apple unlocked some capability in Thunderbolt 3, now Thunderbolt/USB 4. The change allowed Thunderbolt devices to go through a hub, just like you can with USB devices. Before that, you could only daisy chain them. You couldn't put them in parallel on a hub. A Thunderbolt hub might be the solution to allowing me to go back to a one-cable life. Luckily, for Christmas, Santa brought me the OWC Thunderbolt Hub, which runs a rather modest $179 US. This hub connects to your computer via Thunderbolt 4 on the front and expands to 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports on the back. As an added bonus, they threw a 10 gigabit per second USB-A 3.2 port on the front. Adding the OWC Thunderbolt Hub to your Mac is essentially adding 2 extra Thunderbolt ports because it takes one and, the math. Anyway, I said this story wasn't relevant to most people, but if you've got an M1 Mac with only 2 Thunderbolt ports, this hub might actually be helpful to you. Now, for me, the problem wasn't that I didn't have enough Thunderbolt ports, because I do have 4, but rather I only wanted to use 1 port on my Mac when at my desk. I wasn't sure the OWC Thunderbolt Hub would solve my problem, and it took some diagramming to figure out whether it could do what I needed. I opened up my trusty free diagramming tool at diagrams.net, and I got to work. My requirements were that I needed to connect the Pro Display XDR on Thunderbolt, an external USB-C display on occasion, a USB-C SSD for backups, the Universal Audio mic interface on Thunderbolt. The Heil PR40 XLR mic had to go into the Universal Audio interface via Thunderbolt. And let's see, Actually, I've got to stop. I spelled Heil, H-A-I-L. Jeez. If I don't get that fixed, it'll drive me
Hail,
crazy.
Heil.
Yeah. And I'm going to go find 5K while I'm at it. And I didn't read this one very carefully.
Wasn't it the LG Ultra something 5K? Ultra Y?
Yeah, but LG 5K is close
Okay.
enough, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. And I just made a mistake. An external USB-C. All right. Where was I? An external USB-C display on occasion, a USB-C SSD for backups. The universal audio mic interface had to come in on Thunderbolt. I needed to have the Heil PR40 XLR mic go into the universal audio interface. I need headphones into the universal audio interface. I need Ethernet through the CalDigit TS3 Plus dock. Power from the CalDigit TS3 Plus dock would go to the Mac and the mic interface because they both needed to be powered. I need external speakers and my Logitech webcam. That doesn't sound like too much to ask, does it? Well, the CalDigit TS3 Plus starts the chain of happiness with power and Ethernet. Next, I can insert the Owc Thunderbolt Hub between the CalDigit dock and the Mac. Now, that's important here. The ProDisplay XDR and the universal audio mic interface can then hang off of the Thunderbolt Hub. So that's a big difference from the way I had it before. With the XDR and the universal audio interface going through the hub, this frees up a USB-C port on the CalDigit TS3 dock, and that means I can plug in the portable USB-C display to the dock whenever I need it. That left my SSD backup drive looking for a home. Now, I could have plugged it into the open USB-C port on the front of the CalDigit dock, but it's messy to have it hanging out in front on my desk. Turns out the ProDisplay XDR has 3 USB-C ports on the back, which is a perfect place to discreetly plug in the SSD drive along with the Logitech 4K webcam. Now, I can't get away from any mess coming out of the front of my devices because the speakers I'm using have to plug into the front of the CalDigit dock because they're not digital optical. And let's see, the headphone jack on the universal audio mic interface is also on the front. I would like to know why companies put audio jacks on the front of their devices. Does everyone but me need quick access to swap out audio devices? I tend to plug them in and then that's where they live. I don't want them on the front. I want them on the back. Well, anyway, it may be hard to picture in your head what I've described, but if you really do want to follow along, the diagram I talked about makes it really clear, I think. It took a lot of iterations to get it right, especially with quality control director Steve telling me when I had my arrows pointing the wrong way for the information flow. I think I've got it right, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if you find one more that I have flipped the wrong way, so be sure to let me know. Universal Audio is absolutely adamant, as I mentioned, that you cannot plug their mic interface into any kind of hub. But you know what? It works swimmingly with this configuration. In my experience of many support emails with this company is that they have kind of an old school view of the audio world, and perhaps they aren't taking into account the glory of Thunderbolt hubbing. They probably also support a lot of PCs, which may not have Thunderbolt hubbing yet in a lot of cases, so that might be why they say that. Now, I have one outstanding question about this new setup. In the diagram, you can see that the CalDigit TS3 Plus provides 87 watts of power delivery. Before I put in the Owc Thunderbolt Hub, it was this 87 watts of power that charged my MacBook Pro. In the new setup, the dock connects to the hub, and the hub has its own power supply, which provides 65 watts of power delivery. Since my MacBook Pro is plugged into the hub, which one of those two devices is charging my laptop? Might also be interesting to note that the power-hungry M1 MacBook Pros want 96 watts of power. So I've got 87 watts of power coming from the dock and 65 more from the hub. Which one of them is supplying the power, since neither one of them can supply 96? Now, remember, the Apollo Solo mic interface is bus powered, or maybe not remember, I probably didn't tell you that. The Apollo Solo mic interface is bus powered, which means it's drawing power from the hub as well. Took some digging, but I finally found the manual online for the Apollo Solo, and it draws 10 watts all by itself. So we got 65 watts coming from the hub, but the Apollo Solo's taken 10 of those, I think. Perhaps, so I started trying to think about how is this working? How is the power being delivered? My first theory was perhaps when the hub sees 87 watts of power coming at it from the dock, the hub just goes, okay, it looks like you've got this, and just passes that 87 watts along to the Mac. It's also possible that the hub simply doesn't deal with the power coming from the dock, and it simply sends its own 65 watts along to the Mac, less that 10 watts stolen by the mic interface. Now, a reasonably knowledgeable tech support person at OWC told me that the more powerful power supply will always win. So that would be the cal digit would be supplying the power because it's sending 87 watts. But I've got evidence that maybe there's yet another option. Before I put the hub between the dock and the Mac, if I ever used one of the USB ports on the dock to charge something, the Mac would immediately complain that it wasn't getting enough power and to stop that nonsense right now or it would just turn this car around. But now with two devices offering power, I can charge my iPhone via the dock and the Mac makes no complaints at all. My suspicion is that the dock and the hub somehow form an alliance and maybe add their power delivery together, giving the laptop whatever it needs. Now, I'm a mechanical engineer. My resident electrical engineer didn't ever work on power supplies, so we don't know the answers to these questions. If you do know the answers or have another theory, I'd be very curious to know how the power is being handed off between these devices. I'm happy now because my setup is working really well, but I just really need to know the answer to this. It's going to bother me forever. Now, I know this one got a bit deep into my setup and may not apply to any of you, but I'm always glad later when I refer back to articles like this. Invariably, something will change in my environment, and I won't know how my stuff is working, and I'll need to go back and ask myself, now, how exactly did I have all that plugged in when it was working? Okay, I just found a messy typo at the end. 2 messy typos. How you doing, Steve? Have I missed anything?
I don't think so. No one new, I think, showed up in the chat room.
All right. Was everybody wowed by my diagram?
Oh, completely. They were just falling head over tails. Wait, what's the head over feet?
Head over heels?
Head over heels.
Oh, I'd love it, John, if you did. Steve, I was thinking about it. Don't we know power supply people from work? Got to know somebody.
Yeah, it's been a while since I talked to those guys, but yeah. You know,
Ed asked, is that draw.io? Draw.io got turned into diagrams.net, but to make sure that you stay confused, the application you can download, they've got an Electron app. It's called draw.io, so it's really hard to keep track. But yeah, let's put our heads together. We must know somebody who knows somebody who remembers.
Bob Boyleswood, definitely.
Oh, is he a power supply guy?
He's closer than I am. Yeah, he's microwave.
I thought you'd appreciate my explanation of why you didn't know the answer.
Yeah.
Cut this up a little bit. Oh, we have one of those easy buttons, Kevin. You already sent us one, so don't send another one. All right. Link. That's really fun pushing a button. Why is that more pleasing than doing a keystroke?
Well, it's just kind of a one button solution. That's kind of handy.
I didn't do PS either. Oh, you didn't do power supplies either? Do you remember anybody's name, though? Do you got any friends you can ask? Ed used to work with us. That's why we're talking like it. Yeah, freeze your brain. It does a little bit. And it says grumpy right there. I'm totally going to make that the grumpy icon, though.
Definitely.
Definitely. Sound like Rain Man there. Beats Fit Pro. Here we go. Oh, I should show them. Can do show and tell. Look at my pretty new headphones.
Ooh, purplish. It's kind of a stone purple.
It is really a stone purple. Uh-oh. My
Have they just connected?
Just connected, yeah. All right. I like pressing button. I forget Tim's last name, but he did power supplies. Okay, good. That helps a lot. Tim.
Tim, okay, let's go find him.
That reminds me, I was at a conference once. I think I was in Florida or Texas someplace, and I met this guy, and I told him where I worked, and he goes, oh yeah, I know a guy who works there. His name's Bob, but he doesn't go by Bob at work. I said, yeah, I know him. Absolutely. All right. Muting Steve. When the first generation AirPods came out, I loved them. They fit my ears and they sounded just fine for podcast listening, which is my main use for them. But after a while, my first pair started having problems with charging. I always charge the case while I'm on my long afternoon walks, and I wear them for those walks and my runs in the morning. But some days, I'd pull an AirPod out of the case where it had been charging overnight, and it would say the battery was dead. I'd put it back in the case, close it, count maybe to 2, pull it out, and it would show that it had at least 80% charge. It was dumb, but at least they kept working. Now, I was willing to live with the fiddliness, but after a long while of this nonsense, even putting them back in the case wouldn't magically heal them. By that time, the darn things were out of warranty. I was willing to pay for a replacement, but I had no way of determining whether it was one AirPod, the other AirPod, or the case, because it seemed to be switching. I finally paid to have one of them replaced, but it didn't solve the problem. So I gave them to Lindsay as spares. I bought the AirPods Pro to replace them, and while I never had the same charging problem, they just really didn't fit my ears. I finally knew the pain so many others had with the original AirPods not fitting in their ears. AirPods Pro simply squirt out of my ears, slowly, but they just kind of ooze out. It was frustrating and resulted in picking up my AirPods from the ground pretty often. Luckily, Frank Petrie told us about the ear hooks from Chargen, along with their Airfoams Pro active ear tips that he mentioned again just last week, and that combination helped a lot. Chargen definitely solved the problems that Apple created with the AirPods Pro for me, like I said, at least for my earlobes, but it was a hassle to use the ear hooks. With the ear hooks on the AirPods, they don't fit in the case, so I had to put them on and off every time I wanted to go for a walk or a run. I finally broke down and bought another pair of original generation AirPods, and I was so happy. They fit, they were easy to pop in and out, and life was good. Until the exact same problem started with them as the first pair. I'd take an AirPod out, and it would say it would have no charge. I couldn't believe it was happening again. I actually talked to tech support at Apple, and the woman said, "Are you sure you're putting them in the case right?" It's like, it is. If you've ever used it, I don't think it's possible to do it wrong, but she had me doubting because how could this be happening again? And I can't remember exactly, but I swear this is the third pair I've had, but I can't remember what happened to the second pair, so I'm not sure. But I think I've had 3 of them do this. So it seems to me this must be a design flaw because I can't just be that unlucky. Well, anyway, with this second or possibly third pair, I was planning to call AppleCare since they were still in the warranty period this time when I wore them to the beach for a run and they died on me. I took them out of my ears and I put them in my spy belt with my iPhone. It's a little elastic belt that I wear around my waist. Somewhere along my 4-mile run, I pulled out my iPhone, probably to take a photo of a cute dog. And when I got back to my car, I only had one AirPod. I couldn't believe it. Here I have a defective set of AirPods, and now I can't even get my money back or get them replaced. I walked back down to the beach. I walked up and down where I started my run. Walked all the way back to my car, drove to the other end of my run, walked back down to the beach at that end, and I walked back and forth, and I couldn't find it. I wasn't willing to run 4 miles again to try to find out where I dropped it. So I added to my to-do list in November, on November 1st, that I need to call Apple to order a replacement. But you know what? I haven't done it yet. I'm still angry that I'll have to pay for a replacement and only then be able to get them fixed or replaced under warranty. Evidently, my plan is to stay angry and procrastinate until they fall out of warranty. Well, while I'm busy procrastinating, I went back to the AirPods Pro and the Chargen ear hooks. It made me sad. They work, but they're not comfortable. I still have to shove them back in my ear from time to time because they start to ooze out a little bit, even with the Chargen modifications. But then something wonderful happened. Santa brought me a lovely new alternative, the Beats Fit Pro from Apple. I think I may finally have the solution to all of my problems. Let's start with the main problem to be solved, keeping them in my ears. The Beats Fit Pro have very small built-in ear hooks that fits the inner part of your ear to stay in place. Like outside your ear, but inside on the earlobe. That means I have the advantage of the Chargen ear hooks without any kind of hassle. I know everyone's ears are different, but if AirPods Pro squirt out of your ears, this might be the solution you need. Okay, squid out. Gotta fix it. I can't remember these.
Either way, it sounds kind of weird.
Yeah.
Squirt out, squid out.
Yeah. Okay.
It's better than ooze out.
All right, I'll save, even though I'm just pausing a second here. Did I just say this might be the solution you need? This might be the solution you need. Okay. Since Beats are from Apple, they sport the H1 chip just like AirPods, which means you get the smooth connection experience you've come to know and love. Open the case, and up from the bottom of the screen on your iPhone pops a graphic of your Beats headphones with the charge status of the case and the earbuds. Well, it pops up at least as often as the AirPods ever did, which in my experience is about 67% of the time. Now, here's another thing. At $199, they also cost $50 less than AirPods Pro. Not only that, they come in actual colors. Sure, 3 of the options are monochromatic with Beats Black, Beats White, and Sage Gray, but they also come in Stone Purple. Take a guess which color I asked Santa to bring me. I can say with authority that the Stone Purple is gorgeous. It's kind of a light lavender, and that color ensures that Steve will never steal them from me. Beats Fit Pro also have active noise cancellation, just like the AirPods Pro. With the Beats Fit Pro in your ears, if you open Bluetooth settings and tap the little eye icon next to the paired headphones, you can do a fit test just like with the AirPods Pro. The fit test plays some audio into your ears and tells you whether you've got a good enough fit to do effective noise cancellation. When I ran the fit test, it suggested I try a different size of ear tips. I have to confess that I hadn't even noticed that there were different ear tip sizes in the box. I put in the small ones, and now I have an even better fit, and I passed the test. I think that the Beats may have even more effective noise cancellation, but it might be because they fit so much better in my ears. The charging case for the Beats Fit Pro is a fair bit larger than the AirPods Pro case, but at least it still fits easily in my purse. I imagine if women's pants came with pockets, it would fit in them as well. Water break. Really is pretty, Sandy. Plus, Mike wouldn't steal them from you, right? Okay. I think I said sacrifice and willing to make. Fit in them as well. Oh, no. The slightly larger size case is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. One thing I'll miss a little bit is being able to drop the AirPods Pro case on my MagSafe charger, mostly because it was the only thing I've ever used the Apple MagSafe charger for. In my experience, I find that iPhones work much better in easel stand MagSafe chargers, so the poor puck version from Apple has been mostly neglected. The sad thing is I only figured out the AirPods Pro case charged on MagSafe pucks about 2 months ago when I heard it mentioned on the Mac Geek Gab. The Beats Fit Pro case charged via an included USB-C cable. It's really short though, but that's great because it's a modern connector, and I guess I can suffer through not having wireless charging. Now, Steve has been sporting the Beats Power Beats Pro for a few years, and he really loves them. They're a bit different design than the Fit Pros. The Power Beats Pro come with hooks that go around the outside of your ear rather than the inner part of your lobes. He finds them fit him well and stay in better than any he's tried. I bring up his headphones for a very specific reason. Occasionally we go on walks together, and when I interrupt his podcast listening, he reaches up to his Beats and very quickly manages to pause his podcast. I could do it with AirPods, but it takes a second or so to either accurately double tap on the OG AirPods or to squeeze in the right place on the AirPods Pro. I've always wondered how he does it so quickly. When I got the Beats Fit Pro, I figured out how he was so quick at it. Turns out with Beats headphones, the whole side of the earbud is this giant button. If you can find your ear, you can find the pause button. It's the simplest method of all headphones I've ever used to pause and play. Also, like AirPods, in Bluetooth settings, you can change the button behavior for a tap and a long press. I am absolutely delighted with the Beats Fit Pro. They don't fall out of my ears. I don't have to retrofit something in them to make them stay in. The sound quality and noise cancellation are great. They're less expensive than their sibling AirPods Pro, and they're purple. There we go.
Well, the purple, you got to get them. One thing in the comparison, even though it doesn't have to do with yours, but the Beats, Power Beats Pro, the ones I have, I was surprised, even though they have the M1 chip, like the other...
M1, not M1.
What did I say?
H1? You said M1.
Yeah, H1 chip. That would be quite a
That'd be
earbud.
cool.
H1 chip, like the other AirPods and yours have, they don't support spatial audio. And I thought those were connected, but apparently they're not. just having the H1 chip is not enough.
I wonder
apparently.
if they're an older version. Like if
Could be, maybe there are versions of H1 chips, and this is just, that may be it. But I noticed it because I was watching a show on Apple TV, and you let me borrow your Beats, and all of a sudden I could hear spatial. In fact, I could connect. That was it. I can't even connect through. It's not just spatial audio. I couldn't even connect to AirPlay.
Yeah, they didn't show up on the
AirPlay
on
menu.
the Apple TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again, I thought the H1. Well, I don't know. I have to do a little more fit check on yours to see if they'd stay in.
Okay, Miss Grammar person, Sandy, I have a question. I'm about to read off 5 names. I want to say, do you know who rocks? But it's plural. So should it be, you know who rock? It doesn't sound right, does it? Really, it still rocks, even though, so plural? They rock. But who is singular? Okay, who is singular?
In fact, is there a plural who? I can't think of it if there is.
Who? Yeah. Who went to the store?
I think it's generic, but it's implied singular, right? It can refer to plural, but grammatically it's singular, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Muting Steve. You know who rocks? The 3-year-long patrons of the Podfeed podcast. That's who. Helma Vanderlinden, Dean Elger, Greg Hatfield, Aristides Skamakakis. Oh, doggone it. Come on. Skamagakis. Try it again. Skamagakis. See if I can do it. You know who rocks? The 3-year-long patrons of the Podfeed podcast. That's who. Helma Vanderlinden, Dean Elger, Greg Hatfield, Aristides Skamagakis, and Klaus Wolf have all been supporting our work here since 2019. These lovely people went to podfeed.com/Patreon and clicked a couple of buttons, looked at their options, and decided what amount of money reflected the value they have gotten from the show and hope to get in the future. When you go there, you can put in $1 per show, and of course, you could put in much larger numbers if you like, but you can also limit your monthly outlay to what you can afford. If you can't afford to support the show financially, you definitely don't have to. The content will continue to be free as long as I'm able. But there are significant costs associated with doing the show, and it's great when people help offset these costs. My thanks again to Helma, Dean, Greg, Aristides, and Klaus for their support of the Podfeed podcast. All right, now to fix some typos. And I misspelled Greg because that was hard.
Gretchegeg.
Yeah, you saw that.
That's hard to even say.
All right, now I can save and do a chapter mark here using my new buttons. All right, Grumpy. Copy link. Copy.
So you still have to do the copy link part.
Yeah, because I got to tell it
you have
which
to highlight.
one to put in. There's no way it's going to know.
If it could just read your mind and highlight the correct link, that would be awesome.
It would be interesting if it could sense that I selected something, but that's hard.
All right, we're about to wind it up here.
No, we're about to play security bits. Don't you want to have security bits?
Yeah. By wind it up, I mean with the last segment.
Yeah. Oh, I do need a Finder when open. Here we go. Let's drop in Allison, and let's drop in Bart. You want to hear some plink?
Mm-hmm. Always.
Blink.
Oh, that was a good, very good one. Yeah.
Okay. Let's play. Oh. Blink. Oh, Steve likes that so much. Okay, let's see. So I got a Option T and Option T. Jill, do you ever use Option T to split tracks? You should, and they'd be very excited because that's the one that they made for me. Let's see. Get rid of this one. Get rid of this one. And take both of these. And drag them over. What do you think about there? All right, listen, Steve. Pay attention. Oh, good. Oh, it added to your buttons. Oh, I hadn't thought about just doing things that already have keystrokes. Feed podcasts. Wait a minute. I just heard it. Podcasts. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Busschots. How are you today, Bart?
I am great, actually. I got to exercise entirely with the sun on the right side of both the horizon and the clouds.
All right, that thing must slide him over a little bit because he came in quick. Bart.
I am in January in Ireland.
Well, so wait a minute. So what is it normally like? It'll be sunny, but it'll be
50 calories.
Holy cow, that's insane.
Now, given it's my birthday,
Okay, wait a second. Move that back there.
150 calories.
Holy cow.
Now, given it's my birthday tomorrow and I have some really nice
I
cake
was going
and
to
things.
say that. You weren't supposed to lead with that. Happy birthday, Bart.
Thank you. I'll be Douglas Adams' age. I'll be 42, meaning of life, the universe, and everything.
42. Oh, there, we'll remember that. I'll do this again.
It's so true. You're right. You think, oh my God, this is what people like every day. And
Okay. Alan, I already posted that. That was the Aristides thing I found. The problem was the last name I couldn't find a pronunciation for. To in a couple of weeks.
Indeed we shall. Indeed it was. And until next time, remember to stay patched so you stay secure.
We said that a few times. Let's see. Go that way. All right. Should I just stop saying I've left Facebook? Is that getting old? Trying to decide.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. All right, here we go. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me anytime you want at allison@podfeed.com? And lots of NosillaCastaways do. They ask questions. They tell me how awesome the show is. They compliment other people who've been on the show, so that's a lot of fun. You do that by emailing me at allison@podfeed.com. If you have any kind of questions or a suggestion, just send it on over. Let's see, you can follow me on Twitter, and you could do that by going to I am incapable of winging it. I can't even say that. If you have any kind of question, because my notes say I've left Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at Podfeet, but you know what? Better yet, join our Slack community at podfeet.com/Slack, where you can talk to me and Bart and all of the other lovely NosillaCastaways. It is hopping in there, but not too chatty. And Slack is really good because you can say, I want to join this channel, but not that channel because I don't care about that, but I care about this. And you can get notifications by channel or whether you've been mentioned. It's really, really fun in there. podfeet.com/Slack. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You can support the show at podfeet.com/Patreon like our lovely 3-year contributors. Or if you don't want to do Patreon, you can do a one-time donation at podfeet.com/PayPal. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. There we go. Are we late? No, I'm 10 minutes early.
Yeah? You only had a couple readings.
Yeah, but the show's an hour and 25 minutes long.
Wow. Because of security bits?
Yeah. So that worked out. This is my easy week. Stay subscribed. Whoops, too early. And too hot. Stay subscribed. Yeah, I got to tell you, I do miss... You know what I miss? Not the NosillaCastaways, because I've got the the Slack group, and so many people have showed up. It's pretty clear people are coming with me over to Slack from Facebook. But what I miss is the SMR podcast group, because I used to contribute over there, and they're a lot of fun. And I've lost my connection to them, so I just bother the boys directly, but never can't. They don't. I don't think they ever post the stuff I tell them. They're on Discord, but I don't think their Discord chat room is very live. I think it hasn't done. They haven't done anything in a long time. Hey, when did Rick come in? Rick, you sneak in after the bell?
Snuck in.
All right. Well, I think we can actually. I think we can let class go early. I mean, if Rick's leaving, I mean, all the fun's gone, so we might as well get going. What do you think, Steve?
Sure. I think we've given them enough pain for this evening.
Pain? What are you talking about? It was awesome.
Pleasure.
All right. Mike is saying Rick was here to start with. Oh, well, what do I know? All right, everybody. Lovely to see you. Goodbye, Rose. Take us out, Steve. Mwah.